Shabbat Shalom, and this is 10 Minutes of Torah. Not the number 13 and not the number 83, but 10 Minutes of Torah. Well, first of all, I want to welcome you to my outdoor studio. I love to broadcast from outdoors. It does mean occasionally you may hear some background noises. I don't control that as well. Birds chirping, that's not so bad. Dogs barking occasionally, or the worst is if there's some machinery in the background. But hopefully it won't be too distracting. But I think that the combination of nature and Torah is one of the best combinations that we could have. Well, this week's Torah portion is called Naso, or as we say it in my house, say it's Naso. Little joke there. Naso is a very important Torah portion in my family because it is the bar mitzvah portion of my son Ilan. But preceding Ilan becoming a bar mitzvah a number of years ago was another bar mitzvah on this date, and that is the bar mitzvah of Bill Bergenfeld, and hence the number 13. It's not 13. It is actually 83. Bill will be celebrating what we call his second bar mitzvah this Shabbat. Now, is it random that it's this week, that it's when he's 83? The answer to that is no, it's not random at all. You see, the rabbis took from Psalms the statement that it says that a person's life is 70 years, and 10 more years if you're fortunate. Well, 70 years, of course, equals 70. So there is a tradition that when you reach 83, it's like a second bar mitzvah. And I should hope that I will reach 83 one day and perhaps celebrate not my second bar mitzvah then, but my first. But that's another story for another time. In the meantime, we wish Bill and his family mazel tov on his second bar mitzvah and look forward to celebrating it over Shabbat. Now, Naso, what is Naso? What makes it, such an interesting Torah portion? Well, it continues with where we left off last week with the taking of a census. In this case, it is a census of the tribe of Levi. Levi is not really counted among the others. Levi will not have a parcel of land in Israel, but rather be in charge of all of the cultic kinds of things. That's a fancy way of saying ultimately the temple and its upkeep and helping the Kohanim to perform their services. And of course, it is not just about the tribe of Levi, but also keeping the camp itself pure. This is followed by one of the most unusual sections of the Torah. It is called the Sota, the trial and ordeal of a woman accused of adultery. Not going to talk about that much today, except to describe a bit of the ceremony, but to say that it still to this day mystifies me. Is this something that is positive for the woman who is accused of adultery or negative? You have to read about it, but what happens is a woman who is accused of adultery and denies it is allowed to drink of what is called the bitter waters. And believe it or not, it's called, listen to this, sota water. They're allowed to drink this water. A curse is written on a piece of paper, on a parchment, really, and it's scraped off, mixed with water, and she drinks it. And after drinking it, the physical results of her drinking it, that is, will she look like she's pregnant? That's literally what it says, or not. If she doesn't look like she's pregnant, she's innocent. If she does look like she's pregnant, she's guilty. So very complicated, very ancient kind of thing, but that is the sota or sota water. The next section of Naso speaks of the Nazir, the Nazirite. The Nazir was a person who could take a special vow to abstain from certain activities such as consuming grape products, like wine in particular, and not cutting their hair for a very specific period of time. And of course, we all know the most famous Nazirite who is mentioned in the Haftarah, and that is Samson. It's an interesting concept to the Nazir because it kind of says to us that we understand there are some people who may wish to go to excess in religion, and we don't want to say no to them because their motivation is good, but with the Nazir, it is something that is not considered to be better, if you will, than regular religiosity, but just something that some people wish to fulfill. So that's the Nazir. And the last part of the Torah portion, the third part, is about the special gifts that each tribe was to give for the Mishkan, for the sanctuary. And interestingly, the gifts are exactly the same for each tribe. Well, before we get to the description of the gifts, we have one of the most famous passages in the Torah. And I want to show it to you so that you can have an idea that what it looks like. It's in that column with the spaces right there. When something is written with spaces like that, it's to draw our attention to it simply as we read it in the Torah portion. That section is called the Birkat Kohanim. We know it because we say it all the time. At every major function, when we want to give a blessing, we say the Birkat Kohanim. As we repeat the Amidah, it is also recited. So clearly, this is something very important. It is how the Kohen was to bless the people. And there's three parts to it. The first part, Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmorecha. May God bless you and shamor, keep you in some way. We'll talk about that in a second. Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka. May God's face be turned towards you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. And in turning towards you, may you find peace. Those are the three different sections. Each one, as I said, is highlighted by even how it is written. Now, the writing of it is very poetic. When you look at it, you'll notice that there are three verses, each one building on the previous one. Three words in the first verse, 5 words in the second verse, and 7 in the third verse. I want to only talk about the very first part of this blessing because I want to dedicate it a bit to Bill's becoming a second bar mitzvah. I think it applies to someone who's lived a good life. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and guard you. So what do the rabbis mean by God's blessing? We might think that God's blessing is actually good health. We would take that. All of us would take that. Should be the best blessing from God. But the rabbi said, no. Because God is watching over it, whether or not God watches over our health, Yevarecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, what is God watching over? God is actually watching over what our material acquisitions are. I don't mean our stock market or anything of that nature, but what I mean is that we spend life trying to find a place of shelter, trying to find, in our case, transportation, I guess also in ancient times, although not cars, more like donkeys or horses or camels. Those kinds of positions that are necessary for life, we ask God to help guard them. And that's a great blessing to somebody. You've worked hard to acquire what is good in life, so we hope that God will allow those things to be blessed, to continue onward. And so I want to say specifically to Bill, things I will also repeat somewhat on Shabbat, but I want to say to Bill that all that you have acquired in your life, you've reached the age of 83, second bar mitzvah. We hope that the blessings that have come with them, and we consider all blessings to be from God, we hope that those blessings will be with you not just at your second bar mitzvah, but for many, many years to come. Well, this has been 10 Minutes of Torah, not 13, the first bar mitzvah, not 83, the second bar mitzvah, but 10 minutes of Torah. Shabbat Shalom from the outdoor studio.